have a tuna sandwich, tuna and cucumber, right?
Yeah.
Tuna and cucumber sandwich, cheese and onion walkers, pickled onions, mug of tea every day.
Oh, okay.
I could eat
Every
that
day.
same lunch even every day for the rest of my life, and that wouldn't bother me.
Interesting. Wow. see that. Do you not see how that's extremely different to every other meal and everything else about your like food intake?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big time.
Like I've seen you have like French breakfasts, full English, obviously, like we talked about, Moroccan, all these different like completely different meals, and then for lunch, Old Faithful tuna cob, like cheese and like a crisp, nothing else needed.
Yeah, man, every day. I think it's maybe that's why I just crave that one bit of stability, and that allows me to then open up for everything, all the other meals.
That's the bedrock that you hold on to that keeps you grounded. Yeah,
I think I would perhaps lose it. If I had to choose a different lunch, I'd just go completely off the chain and just I'd be a lunatic.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's cool. That's your limit. One less thing to ever think about is what you're having for lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure, man.
Mate,
Makes sense.
You've got to come around for some breakfasts, though, perhaps some weekends, when things start opening up again. This huevos, I've got down to a T. It's so good, man. I'm like frying off the tortilla. I'm making the refried beans, the black beans that you sort of smear on the tortilla. Copious amounts of cheese. Oh, the homemade salsa, pico de gallo, like loads of fried eggs on the top. Oh, it's just so good. I'm getting hungry thinking about it. And then like a big mug of black coffee as well, cowboy coffee to go with it.
Good. You know what I want to try with that maybe is to make what the cowboy coffee, what they'd make on the West, where you just have a big pot. You put the grounds in. You haven't got any sort of filter, nothing else. You just got hot water and grounds, and you just got to hope it doesn't rise too much when you pour it out, so that you don't get it in your cup. I would love that with that. But that, mate, that sounds good. That was my mum's favourite actually when she lived in America.
Oh,
for
cool.
the few years she did. They lived in Albuquerque, so Arizona, and New Mexico rather, and. They loved it all down there. So I think it might be like a Tex-Mex vibe because I think it is sort of the south of America. Yeah. I'm not sure if it's a traditional Mexican thing. I could be wrong there.
I bet it's sort of crept up, with the immigration and stuff. I imagine. Yeah. I imagine that there might even be a different name for it, like in Mexico, something that's exactly the same.
Sure.
But yeah. Let's do it. Here's the breakfast.
Breakfast. Mate, you been watching anything good recently? Any good films? Anything exciting?
Let's see. So watched a couple of my sort of scary, true crimey, Netflixy, thrillery things. I watched the is it called the Vanishing at Cecil Hotel, or The Mystery at Cecil Hotel?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
The Cecil Hotel documentary.
Yeah, I'm sure most people know what it is, They know what I'm on about. The thing, there was a girl sort of went missing when she stayed at this, like, infamous crime hotel in downtown LA, like, a few years ago, about, 8 or 9 years ago. And,
but they'd rebranded, right?
Yeah.
So you wouldn't have known until you get there. And only half of the hotel is this, like, seedy underworld, and then the other half was trying to be like rebranding itself as like a normal place.
Yeah. But the only problem was that they shared the same lift, didn't they? Same elevator. And
right, we need to talk about this. We need to talk about this, dude. Okay, because I watched a lot of this because my missus loves the same kind of stuff you do. And I knew the story, and I knew the peripheral story. And I think we've actually spoken about this before, this exact mystery.
Right.
And for me, I hear it, and I'm like, I've already made my mind up as to what has happened. The most likely events. And so therefore I'm no longer interested in it at all. Because you have got all this like peripheral, like, oh, this is weird and that's weird. But in the heart of it, and I don't want to ruin this for everyone, but I mean, it's an old thing, so it's your fault.
Yeah, spoiler alert, skip ahead 20 seconds if you don't want to know.
But she has mental issues. She's on like antidepressants and drugs, and it's like, she had a breakdown and acted weird and then fell into the water tower on the top of the building I don't see the allure of it. Is what I'm trying to get at, basically.
Mate, yeah, but what about all the conspiracy theories? The thing with the weirdest thing, right, to me, is the fact that, so this lady's name was Eliza Lamb, right? Mm-hmm. So there was there's an outbreak of tuberculosis in the local area, right? And this massive homeless population in downtown LA, sort of near Skid Row, right on the border of Skid Row, right? So there's loads of homeless people, and I think it was like just before all of them got TB, or this new variant of TB or whatever. And there's some sort of like test or something to do with TB, but I think it was the test, and the scientific name for this test was called a Lamb Eliza. Literally her name, but backwards, like Eliza Lamb. Lamb Eliza. Like, why? How? What are the chances? Literally, what are the chances that this happens at exactly the same time? So there was this conspiracy theory that she was sent in there to try and infect all the homeless people to sort of kill them off, to get rid of a problem, quote unquote, for the city. You know, I don't think this was, and I don't believe this for 1 second, because I don't believe in those sort of conspiracy theories. But what the hell are the chances that the test for this TB was called a Lamb Eliza? Her name backwards. What?
Was it spelt the same?
Exactly the same. What are the chances?
So
a million. There must be 1 billion to 1, trillion to 1.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's weird. That's very strange.
There's things like that, and it was full of things like that, this particular case. I think that's why people like it so much, despite, like you saying, it boils down to a very, eventually, simple sort of conclusion. But it's full of these little things that are just, no, I don't believe it. The chances are too great. You know, that sort of thing. I think that's why people like it. So, yeah, that's one of the things I've been watching.
Okay. That's good. That's good. And then what else was there that was similar that I watched as well?
Was this the White House?
White House, exactly, yeah.
White House
That
bomb.
I enjoyed a lot. That was good.
So that was a dramatisation, wasn't it, of a true event that happened in Britain in the 80s, mid-80s.
Yes.
A bloke, well, again, I don't want to spoil it, but a bloke's whole family is shot in a farmhouse in the middle of rural Essex. Mm-hmm. And it's about that crime, basically. And it's fantastic. Some great actors in it as well. Mark Addy, he plays one of the policemen, the main policeman that sort of wants to find the truth.
I love him. He's in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, Full Monty as well. He's Dave from Full Monty. Greatest role.
So I watched that as well, and I really enjoyed it. And this isn't going to spoil anything, but one of the victims, and I don't want to, because this is a real story as well, and talking about Eliza Lamb, you know, it's still very sad that she had a mental breakdown,
of course.
In my opinion, accidentally drowned. But, so I'm not trying to make light of it, and I'm not trying to make light of this either. But I do have a question that when they find the bodies, one person's found with their head in like a bucket or like a coal bucket with their trousers down.
Yeah.
And at no point do they mention it or talk about it, the entire thing. And I'm like, this is going to mean something.
Yeah.
Why would he have been found like that? And why is no one talking about it?
Mate.
And at no point do they talk about it. And I've Googled it, and nobody knows that I can see.
Mate,
do you know?
I thought exactly the same thing.
But I'm like, this is a huge clue. Surely this means something. This is
same. I just watched it and I was like, so it's the sort of the patriarch of the family that's murdered. He clearly put up a fight against whoever was trying to murder the family, right?
Good man.
And he's covered in sort of wounds because he's trying to defend himself and the rest of the family. But yeah, like you say, he's eventually killed and he's got his trousers down. And I remember watching it thinking, it's exactly the same thing as you. Why has he got his trousers down?
Yeah.
What's going on? Why is he naked from the waist down? And
why couldn't they just put one line in where a police officer mentions it and then they dismiss it or something? Like they fell down or something. But they didn't even do that.
Yeah.
And another thing, I don't know if you noticed, but his face was perfectly in, those like...
The big milk, it's a milk pail.
A milk pail.
Yeah.
His face is perfectly in this milk pail.
Yeah.
You don't just fall into those positions. I'd imagine. I don't know. Anyway, that bugged me so much. At the end of it, when they hadn't mentioned that once, I got so annoyed. I googled it, and there's because of this new series. There's like hundreds of people on like Reddit and stuff searching the exact same thing, and no one knows the answer basically.
Amazing. Or if if that was
it's real, by the way, that's real. That was in the like those. Or they show photos at the end, don't they? And the actual body is in that exact position that they've done. They didn't just do that for to dramatize it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's in the original investigation. They don't even mention it.
That's crazy.
That's conspiracy. Please, there's something else there.
Yeah. So please, listeners, if anybody knows why that chap's trousers were down, please let us know. Because it's bugging us.
Big time. But fair play to him for fighting. Like he obviously put a big fight. And
yeah, definitely.
Just didn't quite manage it, but obviously he was against someone with a gun, so not many people would. But yeah, fair play to him.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's also my second thought after thinking why is his trousers down is would I be able to do the same thing? Would I be able to like in the face of it? Everybody would like to think they would, right? Mm-hmm. Especially a bloke would like to think, I could, even if somebody had a gun or a knife or a chainsaw or whatever. I'd like to think I would just stand up and, take the beating or the wounds or something, and just you want to be that guy. If you're all going down, you want to be that guy that the police said, yeah, he put up a fight, right? There's loads of those. There's loads of those guys. Not that I would ever sort of, think less of anybody being a victim for just sort of, being killed, because there's lots of these victims that just, they can't do anything. They can't stop it, and that's not that's nothing against them at all, but you would like to think, wouldn't you, God, I hope I'm that guy that tries to stand up and tries to stop it, and so you want
to be the guy or the woman who's like got DNA under their nails or something because they've been like clawing them, and that's what catches them. That's what you want if you are going out. That's the ideal situation, right?
Try and help the cops.
You've helped
on the way
the
out.
Cops, exactly. Yeah. Sure, that's an interesting topic actually. Like, what would you do in those situations? Because you can say all you want. I can't believe you let him do that. I'd knock him out or whatever. But when you're in those high tension like situations, you don't know what you're going to do. Like, it's such a fight or flight thing. It's such a basic instinct that some people bravery doesn't even come into it. It's just like an automatic response.
Yeah, for sure.
You just hope that you've got it in you. You got the minerals.
Big time.
Interesting. So I actually asked you about what you've been watching for a specific reason. I had an ulterior motive.
Oh, nice. Bring it on, baby.
Yeah, we have decided this week we are going to list 3 films each, and these films are going to be our top action films.
Yeah, they are.
Time. Now, in classic Blokes podcast fashion, we decided this about 30 minutes before we started recording. So I am so certain I'm going to miss one of my favourite action films. But I've got 3 I think I'm pretty happy with, and we'll see. Hopefully we don't clash too much.
Okay, cool. I don't think we're going to clash, and that's for one reason. I have left the greatest action film of all time to you, because I was so sure it was going to be on your list. I've sort of left this off mine, but just assume it's my greatest, okay? And I'm sure you know which one I'm going to... You know which one that's going to be, okay? So
the pressure's building
pressure.
now.
So I've left that one to you, and I'm trusting in your man abilities that you will know which is the greatest action film of all time, yeah?
I think I've done the same. I think I've done the same, so I'll take that one. I'll take that. That's good.
Have you left...
I think we know. No. I was like... I thought there were some films that just go without saying, but I think you're right. We need to say it, because if we don't...
Perhaps we can do we can just have that as a separate film at the end, just as the greatest action film of all time, because it just transcends the whatever. Okay, so I thought it would be cool if we sort of do a few little boundaries to this first, because I Googled it, because I thought, okay, well, loads popped into my mind, obviously, but I was like, I'll Google it just in case there are some that are really obvious that I've forgotten. Yeah, and I kind of thought there needs to be a few rules. Okay, so I'm going to rule out Bond. Because
I wanted to talk about that.
That's a separate category, I feel, because they're all they're all amazing in their own right, and they almost have their own category. Okay, so I want to rule out Bond.
So are you saying that the best action film of all time isn't Die Another Day? Are we off? Am I off there?
Yeah,
Okay,
you're off.
right,
You're
sorry.
gone.